So I'm here at Takla, all the way up in Joburg, and the interior of this vehicle is ready for a bit of love. Now the interior here, you can see, has definitely, this would have benefited from having seat covers much earlier on in its life. The interior would look dramatically better if it did. There's like some paint or grease stains or something on the armrest. There's a lot of cracks and wear on the leather, and you know, you can see that the bases have been reupholstered at some point, so you can imagine that those were completely worn through. All of this is realistic after 450,000 kilometers and crossing Africa twice, so it's not an unrealistic thing, but it will make a huge difference to the vehicle having it protected. 26 years of being used and abused, you're just not going to do all that much. But what is going to be really nice is to cover all of this up with nice new fresh fabric, and the Takla products are, in my opinion, the best you can get. So I've been using their products now for a good couple of years. I had it on the Jimny, I had it on the Hilux. Rolfie's got it on his vehicle. Rolfie's dad's got it on his Hilux. We've put it on our Caravel at home, my dad's Caravel. We have got Takla on almost everything we have. And it's just great. It feels comfortable. I'm glad to not have this sticky leather anymore, because the drive to Joburg, it was getting hot out there in the Karoo, and this leather just gets so sticky and it doesn't breathe at all. And I found that no matter the climate that I've been in with my Taklas so far, I just am very comfortable in the seats, and I'm very excited to try their new River Rock range. This is something that we've put in our Caravel and we've been loving it, and I'm really excited. It's a new product from them. It's more of a thicker sort of canvasy feel, but it's still all their same sort of properties of the strength, durability, chemical resistance, water resistance, everything like that. So I am very much so looking forward to it. I could have gotten in beige or black. I decided to go for the black because there's already a lot of beige in the car, and I thought it might just be nice to break it up. And I found that over time the beige can get quite grubby, just from like dirty elbows and, you know, like shoes and all sorts of stuff like that. So I just thought, let me try something new and get back to a dark color. I've actually done the same, ordered the same for the Hilux, so it'll be interesting to see that once I can get the Hilux back up here as well. But yeah, for now, we've got a lot to do. It really does just finish it off. Very nice. That's great. That's very nice. Slick. Awesome. So that's all finally done. Looking great. Very neat. That brings our interior almost to an end. One last thing to sort out. Just the back. And so it begins with a bang. I'm back here at Bushtech now. We are getting ready to try and get down to the Tankwa Expo. It's a nice, beautiful expo. Great overlanding opportunity for a lot of the companies, and people come from all across the country to come and visit there. So it's going to be a really nice one to get both the vehicles there. So I'm pushing hard to get this Landcruiser at least semi-done. At least safe, so I can secure down a fridge and a few things in the back. And yeah, anyways, I got some work to do. This is my life now. Custom trimming piece of cardboard to make a nice little insert for the back of the 100 series. Getting there, slowly but surely. Okay, it's a little bit rough around the edges here and there, but I wasn't so good at arts and crafts, okay? But it will be just fine. So, got a bit of room for this to move around and sort of position it just right. But not too bad, put a bit of carpet on it, and that'll be right as rain. Seat still closes. So that's good. Nice. Funny story about this slider is this began all the way back with the chimney. And Bushtech have pimped this thing out a lot since then. So it's kind of funny. This is going to go in the Landcruiser now. How cool is that? Circle of life. Oh, wow. So neatly packaged. Look at that. Ships around the world. What's in here? And then you've got your little wooden board here. Oh, look at that. Hey, looks like it's done by professionals. Even Jason's there. So I thought I was done and I was enjoying the sweet simplicity, and then I got an idea and I'm back at Bushtech again, causing drama and chaos here for Darren. But I've decided to extend basically my bed from the top of the back seat all the way to this point here, and to have a little bit of storage underneath. It reduces the space inside quite a lot to have a sleep or whatever, but at the end of the day I think it's going to make it a lot more practical. I can keep all the seats in all the time, I can still have my bed set up, and I can have some permanent storage underneath the bed set up. So what I sacrifice in a little bit of sleeping comfort, actually not a lot in sleeping comfort, because it also makes the bed wider. So there's a lot of pros and cons to the change, but I've just been thinking about it, and I think in the long term it's going to be the better bet. That's just the beginning of the whole process, but it's just to get something in there that can make the space a little bit more usable and livable, give me some concealed storage as well, because I've got very little concealed storage in the SUV. Everything is open, and obviously if I want to carry camera bags or things like that, I don't like those things being visible. So it's little things, but I think it's going to make a huge difference to daily life and some camping situations, which I think are going to be becoming more common with this vehicle, because I'm really loving it. So anyways, we're just busy welding up a frame now, going to test fit a board, carpet that, and we are done and dusted and ready to get going towards the Tankwa for the Tankwa Expo. There we go. That's good. So we got a bit of storage space under there. Pretty good. What is living in here? Nothing. So that actually fits perfectly. Not too shabby. I mean, it's not a drawer system. So I've been pushing through all day. I'm in the middle of the Karoo at the moment, and I'm going to push into the night to get back to the Western Cape. The Landcruiser is driving like a dream, super comfortable. We've got some awesome stuff ahead with the Landcruiser, and we've got to get back down to the Western Cape to get ready for the Tankwa Expo this weekend, where we're going to be meeting up with everybody, and I'm going to be showing off the Landcruiser and the Hilux for the first time. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see, and I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody after such a long time. It's going to be really awesome. Anyways, I've got a long drive. Sun's about to set.
We arrived to a windy Tankwa Expo and safely got both of my vehicles to this show. The Landcruiser was at the Terrain Tamer stand and the Hilux was at the Bushtech stand. Frickie from Compendium Insurance even flew out to drive one of the vehicles with me. It was really nice to catch up and chat with everybody again after a long time.
It's turned into chaos. It's windy. I don't know if anybody's going to come to this expo. It's so windy. Look at these clouds.
We spent most of the time huddled around a fire, but some extremely dedicated folks did end up braving the storm to meet and greet.
So this guy is going to replace this one here. Now I'd bought this one on a sale. I got a decent price for it, and I just needed something to replace what was in here. There's nothing wrong really with this one. It's just the only thing that I was hoping I could be able to do with it is install apps and stuff, and that you can only do on a proper Android unit. So it must have Android 13. So that's why this new one is exactly what I've been looking for. Now it should just be plug and play with everything here. It's come with a 100 series Landcruiser bracket to just fit and clip right in. So let's have a look and see how that all goes. It's got its own GPS antenna, it's got a 4G antenna, it's got a 5G antenna. It's quite a comprehensive unit, so I'm excited to see how this all works. It's got 2 USB outlets, whereas my previous one only had 1. And yeah, let's get this old one out of here and see what this new one does. This vehicle had been fiddled with before and had a aftermarket radio in it when I got it. It wasn't anything special or crazy, just a simple something with Bluetooth. So let me unplug everything at the back here and we can take it from there. Okay, so this one has got a few dongles, and I'm going to need to find homes for these and where and how I'm going to run them. Have I read the instructions? It seems simple enough to figure out. So the main thing I want to see is just will all the plugs just go in? So it comes with a little harness, just like this, goes into the plug that goes into the back of the unit, and these should just plug all of my things in here. So if I even paid the slightest amount of attention to what I've unplugged, this should be a simple task. Let's see, that's not working. Is that working? Okay, so now this is the issue when you have 2 different auxiliary systems. Because now I'm using the old auxiliary system and this was never swapped from original. They actually just cut into the cables and put on new plugs. Fun. That's fun.
When in doubt, get your dad, who was an instrument technician for 26 years, to help you.
So we have power. It's not properly in yet, but that looks great and it sounds great. So just got to figure out all the apps and everything. So once we've got it all in, I'll report back to you in a couple days. I moved my radio, replaced the ashtray. Fits actually quite snug in there, and there is the new unit. It is quite huge. This bracket takes up a lot of space. I think that could definitely get more efficient because there's really nothing behind there using any major bracketry. It just sort of like kind of clips in. So we'll see how that handles on corrugations and rough roads, but I think I might look at finding a way to just maybe bolt that in and sort of make my own bracket there so it can fit a bit more snug. But it is beautiful. It's very fast and responsive, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing around with it. The interior has just transformed so much. I'm really loving it.
So today I decided I'm going to do a little DIY project on the Landcruiser, because I mean, why go to a professional who actually knows what they're doing when you could waste money buying cheap Chinese things online and figure it out yourself? Well, this car's got a couple nasty dings on it, and I'm gonna just try and see what I can do to pull them out. I bought a little dent remover thingy.
we'll see if it does anything. My expectations are incredibly low. Very, very official dent removal kits. See, DIY dent and ding repair kits. Professional auto body ding repair tools for all types. I'm working on a bunch of little dents, some big ones, all coming along. I even started pulling dents on my cousin's car and on the old Soldier because I'm back in Joburg. So we're pulling some dents out on Andy's car. It's been a whole lot of fun. Also polished this side up with my dad. So you can see this started out quite nasty. That's better. It's not going to get too much better. This one's completely gone now. Most of that's all the scratches polished out. There's another one there that's polished out. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's polished out on this quarter panel. So that's really nice. It's looking good. And then we're going to polish the rest of the car. But right now I'm just pulling out just a few little things here. You just twist this knob and it builds up pressure. And it pulls until it sort of breaks pressure. But you don't want to over pull it. So what I found, very nice trick. Take a bit of this isopropyl alcohol. Spray it on there. Pops right off. And then this peels off beautifully. Now, I wish I knew this a lot sooner. So, yeah, it's a pretty fussy little dent there. So I might have to find something that'll do that a bit more aggressively. But just slowly going through it. Having a lot of fun. I had a bad feeling about this one when I started. Because it had a tiny little chip in the paint, and I just thought, oh no, I'll just won't pull it that hard. Well, guess I'm going to be learning how to do touch-up spray painting next. This is why you buy a 26-year-old vehicle, because at least if I have to learn how to respray it, it's not that bad. But that's a nasty one. So this side and on the other side, pulled a bit of clear coat off. I hadn't learned the isopropyl alcohol release thingy just yet. So I've managed to do some great stuff and I've managed to do some pretty stupid things. But I guess that's how you learn. So I am back in Johannesburg to finish off the interior install on the 100 series. The Bushtech. Say hello to the Hilux. Hello Hilux. Hilux has been parked here at Bushtech for a while. Still alive, it's still doing well. We're just focusing our energy on the old duck. A lot of fun. So the whole setup I had done before to get to Tankwa and do the expo and all that stuff was just a quick temporary setup. And it worked pretty well, but it just wasn't finished to the standard that I'm used to. And then recently I was filming for Bushtech. I'll put the video up here, and we were looking at the SUV Drawersystems on Darren's 300 series, and I just love it. I love the way it looks, I love how it functions, and I did a few measurements and I was like, this could fit in the 100 series quite comfortably, and I think I'll still be able to use it as a sleeping platform and accomplish all my initial goals and stuff that I want to, but it'll have a lot more functionality. So yeah, I think if you want to see any of the technical information and all the very specific little things about the Drawersystem, go watch the video over on the Bushtech page. But for now, we're just going to be putting this in. It looks like the Drawersystem on the 7-seater 100 series should just plop right in. And then what we're doing on mine is we're just doing the designs for the little covers over the wheel arches and stuff. And then mine is a 5-seater, so mine's a bit different. But I don't mind, we're going to drill the holes in the exact same places that they would be on the 7-seater. So it's not really an issue. And yeah, we're popping in the Drawersystem. There's a few things, it'll take a little while to get all the little bits and pieces exactly laser cut and that for the 100 series. But that should be done pretty soon. So for now, we're going to put the Drawersystem in, make a few last measurements, and then Kyron will get to work, busy drawing up the last little things to go and get laser cut. So you can see the difference between the 300 series, this is for the 300 series, and this is the 100 series. There is significantly more width in the back here on the 100 series. So we are going to be able to fit a whole cutout here for a red vision display. I have a feeling that's gonna be really nice. Remember that time I said I was keeping it stock? Me neither. Maybe I have a little bit of a problem. Just a tiny little problem. EGT, boost, and temperature gauge all in one. Now this is cool. This is very cool. DC-DC SUV wiring kit. 3 things right here that are all brand spanking new from Redarc. The Rogue has been out a while. This is a miniature version of the TVMS 1280. This is the TVMS 1240, and this has got some very fancy stuff. This we will need to cover more in depth as we're doing it. It's got 10 solid state fused outputs. They're also dimmable and remote switchable from the red vision display and also from your phone. Now, in lieu of the Manager 30, which used to be tracking our current in and out and a whole bunch of things like that, we now have the smart battery monitor. So it's a smart shunt, connects via Bluetooth and through this cable into your Rogue, so that you can then get that same current tracking but through the Rogue system without the Manager 30. So you can use a 40 amp charger in combination with this, and you can get very close to the Manager 30 just without that AC charging. I'm still on the fence about whether this is going to go into the Landcruiser or the Hilux. I think that one, for me, the Landcruiser is supposed to be about back to basics, which this is already sort of pushing the boundaries on what back to basics means because this is already quite fancy stuff. The nice thing with what I've done here and why I've selected these products is because you can do this exact setup with just this charger. You can then add in a smart battery monitor if you want, and then you can add in the Rogue separately if you want. So this is a stepped approach, right? Your entry point is going to be something like a smart battery isolator. This is an inexpensive way of running a dual battery system, and this can allow 100 amps of charge, if I remember correctly, 100 amp dual battery solenoid isolator. So then you've got a 40 amp charger, which is then DC to DC. Then you've got smart battery monitor, which then gives you the ability to monitor your consumption and generation off of the phone. And then you have control in the Rogue, which allows you to switch on, switch off, measure water tanks, and control a whole bunch of wonderful things. The app has also been revolutionized with the Rogue in mind, and there's some very cool things I can show you at a point. Then inverter is another step up, not necessary for everyone, and I think I haven't sussed out yet if I'm going to use anything that needs an inverter in the Cruiser, but the Hilux definitely will. And the upgrades that this inverter brings would be stellar for the Hilux, because this inverter runs a lot quieter. This is a 2000 watt versus the 3000 watt in the Hilux, so I'd have to be a bit more cautious with which appliances I use. But I think in terms of its size, profile and everything, this is going to suit the Hilux, because there are some sneaky things happening to the Hilux that you don't know about. I know he's building his Hilux again. Oh boy, what can he possibly do now? Well, pretty major. So whatever, we'll get to that when we get there. But this may very well go in the Hilux. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where could this fit in the Cruiser. You know, let's play a bit of a thought experiment and see where all of these bits of bobs can actually go, because there's a few areas in and around the drawer system where I think these parts can all fit quite nicely. So yeah, I think I better get comfortable with being cramped into small close spaces for a while. Let's see how this goes. So I'd run some temporary cables all the way from the front through the interior of the vehicle to a little fuse block in the back here. It's just part of a way of just getting a couple 12-volt sockets for me to run a fridge, charge a few things just here in the back, because the default ones had been damaged by the previous owner, and were very thin, skinny cables, so couldn't really do much with. So now I'm going to run the main positive cable all the way from the front of the engine bay through the vehicle. Now I do already have cables there, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this cable to that cable, and I'm going to pull it through. If you struggle to get it through the hole, you know, general rule of life, use a bit of lube. There we go, first time. I didn't have any Q20. I used a bit of my flash loop diesel conditioner on the end there. Worked like a bomb, baby. And there we go, all nicely run. And this butts right up against the firewall. I've put a little bit of heat shrink on there, so that nice insulated seal there, and it's nice and insulated here. Cool. So another thing that's in the box is the inline fuse holder. The terminals are already crimped for that 6mm little stud. You put your 50 amp, 60 amp fuse there, and then you attach this end onto your battery, and you are good to go. All covered up. And what I've decided to, instead of running behind this and constantly having to go behind here, I've tucked this in here along this edge, and we're going to run it back here. So I've left plenty of cable if I decide to change my mind, but all along the side here and here, I'm looking at getting potentially some low profile batteries that I can mount on the back of the drawer system, and then I'm thinking of doing the whole 12 volt setup on the back here. So let's see. I've got plenty of room down the side. The fridge and the drawer system already has its cables run for the fridge with the energy chain, and then I don't need any of this stuff in the back here to be able to access, because once this vehicle's all kitted out with the drawer system and everything, I don't want to have to take everything apart. I'd rather just push the chairs forward and have access to my whole 12 volt system right here. And yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen. So our next stage will be installing this guy. What a beauty. I love this color. How cool is that? Okay, so this is the BCDC 40 core range. So this is an in-cabin battery charger. Makes it a bit more affordable, which is really nice. And yeah, all we do now is terminate these guys into this guy, and then we connect up all the other cables that need to go in there. And then we have our solar, we've got our ignition, we've got our aux battery, our ground, and these two are the charging profile cables. And then this one is for if you need ignition, but I've got an old school alternator here, puts out a serious amount of power, so we don't need that. And yeah, so that's going to be all neatly and nicely done. Now what we were doing before was running a whole bunch of Anderson plugs, and this makes that so much neater. You can cut the cables to the right length, terminate them in here, no need for crimping and all sorts of things. So it's really nice with this wiring kit. I have not needed to take out a crimper. So this will go on to a fuse block, and then that MIDI fuse will then connect to the battery using the short red cable here, right? And then this, strip that wire back and put it into that little, into this little block. I mean, how neat is that? Okay, so I'm just trying to visualize everything here and see like sort of what space I need, where do I need to run things. And this is around the size board that I'd have to play with. Still got all of these outputs to come off here, so I'm gonna have to play around and get quite clever with how I'm gonna do this. So this is the battery we're going for. It's quite an interesting thing. It is very skinny, but it's not small considering it's 100 amp hour. But I mean, look at the gap that it's fitting in. It's got all these little brackets on it that we need to remove on the top and bottom. So that's going to give us our height, because right now that's not going to be comfortable to sleep on. So we're going to drop it. This should just fit. Here's our frame coming along there now. It's all coming along real nice. Okay, so it's not, our measurements were a little bit too precise. There's not enough wiggle room for it on this side. So we're going to see if maybe it can fit behind the seat.
That's in line with that.
So
That's slightly problematic.
yeah, we're trying to work around the draw system and the exact sort of
That's
predetermined
as far as it's
dimensions.
gonna go.
So it's a bit of a tricky one,
I don't know, we missed that bolt though.
especially with old custom Adrian wanting everything fancy and fresh and new just for himself. Don't cough like that, Karen. Custom things for Adrian. Darren's gonna kill me. Okay, so there, as you can see, the battery sort of sits flush with the board. Fridge cage is going to go on here, and the fridge in there. Somehow I need to fit all of those components in that gap there. So, fun times ahead. This is just a classic Saturday morning wiring fest going on here. Setting up cables for the solar input there. That's the solar panel I'll be using, 240 watt solar blanket. This is the board. It's a bit woody at the moment. Just figuring out how I'm going to run all the cables. Just put a little grommet in here so the cables don't chafe. New battery looking nice. This is just figuring it all out. Version 1 is often quite rough. So while I'm here busy looking at how I'm gonna do all of these guys and figure out which ones go where, I realize, check here, 2, they're all numbered, number 1, you know, number 4, little things like that, huh? How easy. Now I was about to get the voltmeter out and measure all of these and everything, and you know, there's Redarc again, just thinking ahead. But it's all coming along. A lot of stuff sort of getting connected up. Still got to put fuses in there. I've got to earth this whole system somewhere. I'm trying to see if I'm going to use a point here or a point here. The fridge, some USBs, a bunch of stuff. There's so many outputs here. I'm not too sure how I'm going to use them all, but we will try. We will try. And you see, I'm not actually using any of these switches. So if you already had a pre-existing system that had a bunch of switches and you still wanted to use them, you actually can connect them up in here and then program any of these outputs to work on these switches. And also the water tank sensor is in here, and obviously I don't have a water tank on this vehicle, so I don't need that. So I've saved myself all of the space. It might be an interesting situation when if I one day want to add this back in, but I will face that when I get there. This is the little unit to set the lithium charging profile. They've given us a really nice little connector there, so you know, no more twisting some wires together with a bit of insulation tape. Bluetooth shunts going in. I just got to hook up, put one more lug on there to get that on there. These are 10 mil, well, I don't know if it's mils, but yeah, I'm guessing a 10 mil bolt. So that's quite a serious lug that you need to get. So finding those is not always the easiest thing when you're looking through just your stuff at home. This is the power for the shunt. These are the two cables running from the charger and the Rogue. One ground running from the battery negative to here, and then all the other negatives around to here. So that's a neat connection. I've put the cap, protector cap on here that comes with the battery, which is quite nice. And then here you can switch on. It's got a little display which does give you some basic information: battery temperature, the current, and the voltage. These aren't always the most accurate, hence we run the shunt, because that measures all the power going through. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, this is going to be really cool. So switch this guy off, and it's all coming together quite nicely. Wiring is one of those things that is just so time consuming. This is now like day 3 of fiddling around with the wiring on this car, and if anything, actually almost day 4. And the thing is, getting it done right is really time consuming. It's also very expensive if you get somebody else to do it. So the thing that I've learned over all the years of building all my vehicles is how to do my own wiring. It's very nice when you know how to do it. The Redarc kits make the process a lot easier. I've definitely noticed the difference between the Rogue, the TVMS Rogue, and the TVMS Prime. One, there's a lot more fiddly work on the Rogue to do because all the cables sort of come out of the plug. It's not like on the TVS Prime where you can just insert the cables and screw them in, which I really like and would have actually sped up a lot of time. But I'm learning some new things here and playing around with some new connectors and some new stuff, and I'm also actually quite liking that, so it's really not a problem at all. It's looking good. That's looking really nice. Drawer system, fridge cage, got a little water tank, little water pump. My bed platform coming along nicely. Awesome. So the reason I've gone with the National Lunar fridge is that Bushtech have these really nice brackets that go in the drawer system that mates with the fridge. Don't need tie down straps. This thing cannot jiggle side to side. It's super solid. And the 60 litre National Lunar is a fridge and freezer combo, so I can still freeze a bit of stuff and have a fridge, which is a really nice balance for any trips, to be honest. Anything longer than 3 days, you sort of want to have a freezer. So I think that's really coming along nicely.
Bushtech did a fantastic job helping me get everything ready in time to head back to Cape Town.
The sun is rising in Bloemfontein. There's a bit of a mad rush to get ready to get out towards Cape Town. I'm heading back to Terrain Tamer to go and do a bunch of stuff this week, and I've got a trip that I'm leaving on at the end of this month. So a few things, and it's going to be the first proper trip with the cruiser. It's not going to be on YouTube. It's actually going to form part of the Overland creator series that I'm busy filming. So yeah, that's going to be launching in September, early September. So definitely go and check that out when you get a gap. I think that's going to be quite a awesome series for you guys to see. It's a lot of stuff that I've been working on over the past year. So yeah, if you get a chance to go and see, definitely go and do it. I think it'll definitely be worth the subscription to the Overland network. But the journey continues. Started early this morning at 3 o'clock, and hopefully I'll be in Cape Town this evening.
There are loads of little things happening all the time on the cruiser, and I hope you enjoyed catching up on all the changes, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next adventure, wherever that might be. Ciao!
Breathing slowly, the smoke might burn your eyes. Listen closely.